In this episode of The Real Crimes of Kurri Kurri, we are reminded that it can be embarrassing having a case at the New South Wales Local Court, particularly in a small town. On this day, when Kurri Kurri Local Court sat in late April, I recognised the defendant, but I couldn't work out where I knew him from. Maybe I'm spending way too much time at court and he's just a familiar face from last time court sat here. I will call this 32-year-old defendant Troy. It's not his real name. So before the case starts, let me set the scene. Most of these petty crimes being dealt with at Kurri Kurri Local Court are done so in an open court. This includes a public gallery. So it's common for the public gallery to hear all sorts of details about the defendant and their lifestyle. I think this is where there is most potential for things to get embarrassing for the defendant, and maybe a bit cringe for us in the gallery. So I'm sitting there thinking, where have I seen Troy before? It's when the court is told about his employment, I have the aha moment, followed by, ooh, will this be awkward next time I shop at his workplace? Yes, he works in Maitland in a shop I reckon we all frequent. You see everyone around town there, the neighbours, random people you haven't seen for ages, even the police shop there. So what happened that resulted in Troy having a case at Kurri Kurri Local Court? Well, the magistrate says to Troy, quote, "You went way over the top," end quote. We hear that Troy made a terrible decision to drive, which the magistrate expresses was totally unacceptable. Story goes that on the 20th of December 2024, which was the last Friday before Christmas last year, Troy was with his friend at a hotel. The hotel isn't named, I'm assuming it's one of the hotels in Kurri. Troy claims he hadn't eaten on that day. Rather than food, Troy had consumed multiple alcoholic beverages and some cocaine. He crosses paths with the police. By the way, we are told it's not the manner of his driving that got the attention of police. I think when you hear that, it's likely it's a random or chance interaction with the police. Troy blows mid-range. However, it turns out Troy is on his L's, so that puts the alcohol reading into the high range for an L-plater. The actual reading is not said out loud. The court accepts Troy is of otherwise good character. Otherwise good character, I take to mean is that Troy is of good character, except for the high range driving and the cocaine consumption. In the end, Troy is convicted, fined $1,100, disqualified from driving for 6 months, which is backdated to December last year. Troy will have an interlock for 12 months if or when he gets his licence back. So beware, you risk potential embarrassment having a case here at Kurri Kurri Local Court. Maybe you wouldn't be embarrassed by this offending, but I would argue you risk embarrassment, social exclusion, and or being shamed in public by being a defendant in a case that involves unacceptable behaviour. For many people, the shame of being a defendant deters them from returning to the New South Wales Local Court.